I think we're live.
I think
Are
we're
you there,
live.
Mickey?
I'm here. Was it a little bit of a glitch in the matrix?
It is a glitch in the matrix, but we can hear you.
Awesome. Well, happy Thursday. Happy week of Juneteenth. I hope you did something special for Juneteenth this week. But we are back. We got Mickey Black, Jennifer J in the mix, Digital Marketing Network, talking about all things digital marketing. And this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about things that people are doing for conferences, networking events. I went to a networking event myself, and you went to a networking event just today.
Yes.
And wanted to talk about the digital tactics that are really working for people to connect in those sorts of spaces. I know you're talking about lead generation, but do you have anything in particular? Because you even asked me about, I think it was like a QR code or a text number or something like that. Do you have any particular tips on what works well for networking events and those sorts of conference spaces?
Or yeah. So let's just talk about networking events. So going to networking events, making sure that you're equipped digitally, meaning you can still give your business card, but I'm just going to land on that digital card is sermont to the paper cards, because with the digital card, and it's not all digital cards, so not all digital cards are created equal, but what you can do is connect your connections to your high level account. We use high level. So if you have a different CRM, you can connect them to your CRM. Some cards connect directly to your CRM, but what's most important is that you set up the automation on the back end. And so what
So before you get too far,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
when you say digital card, some people don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when you say digital card, is it
Yeah.
a card that has a QR code on it, or is it like a card on your mobile app, or what do you mean when you say digital card?
Thank you. Yes. So what I mean by digital business card is there's software that you can go sign up, and once you set everything up, you will have a QR code on your phone that you're able to have other people scan. The
Ah.
digital card I use has accessories. So I'm able to have a bracelet. I'm able to give bracelets out to other people if we're working a big event, and it all leads back to the same card. So it really just depends on the software that you use.
So this is a trip. So there's a couple of things you mentioned there. You mentioned you can put the QR code software on your phone, and
Mhm.
then what you would have other people scan your phone. Like if I met somebody, they would just scan my phone
Mhm. Yes, they scan your phone, and then your information will pop up on their phone.
on their
And
phone.
yeah, and some of them you can just hit a button and it'll save their contact. Now, there's two problems with that. So, the one problem is, let's just say I meet you at an event, I scan your information and I save your contact to my phone. Mickey, I
Mm-hmm.
forgot your name as soon as I walked out the door. So now I'm stuck with, oh my goodness, who did I just add? Who was that person? Now I have to go back and see who I added. That's the problem. The solution
Yeah,
is the automation connecting your CRM so that when you're networking, it's going back to your CRM and
and it can
information
automatically
is
send them a
kicking in.
boom.
Yes.
And the other piece you mentioned is a bracelet. So people
Mhm.
use bracelets. with the QR code? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I do. I use a software called Popple. Um, and what Popple does is it allows you to have bracelets. So you could have a hard card for them with the QR. You can have a keychain. They have a whole accessory store. So my strategy, now we're getting into strategies for events. My strategy for a big event that I attended was my children were helping me. So we all had on our shirts and we each had a bracelet because a lot of the times they can't explain what I do. And so they'll just say, "Oh, you need to just talk to my mother." And so they'll have someone scan their bracelet. It goes into my Popple software, and then my Popple is connected to my high level, and that's automated. But what I like about Popple is that it will remind you, "Hey, did you connect with Mickey from 2 days ago?" So those are the things that you have to keep in mind when you're doing these things. So that was a networking event strategy and an event strategy for a team.
Nice, nice. Does Popple? How much does Popple cost?
$14 a month.
Nice, nice, and it
Yeah.
hooks into your high level.
Yes, it hooks into mine.
Nice. That is a huge tip because I saw a lot of the people using the QR codes on the devices, but what they were doing is they would show the QR code, and then the QR code you scan it, and it would drive you to their LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
But then the fall off I saw there was a couple of people didn't actually like, they'll visit your LinkedIn, but they don't connect. So they'll just look at you like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. And then move on. Or they'll follow and not connect. But I think, and either way, it really doesn't start the CRM piece into it, and it doesn't remind you about it. So I like the Popple piece because you get to capture the data
Mm-hmm.
and you get to start the workflow to make sure that that contact is followed up on. That's a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
I saw, well, actually, that was what the one that I saw in terms of stuff that really impacted me was like the QR code thing. Everybody seemed to be big on the QR codes. Now the other thing um, I noticed people would do like social media sort of like investigating or whatever. Like they would look at people that were on the roster to either appear,
Mm-hmm.
host, or speak,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would try and connect with those people on social media
Mm-hmm.
by before the event, and then you get to the event, it's almost like you know them already.
Mm-hmm.
Already.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Mm-hmm.
you do
Yeah.
that? Do you do like LinkedIn or Instagram stalking?
I
Of
don't, but I need to. I did hear that as a strategy that's a strategy that people do before they go to an event is that's what they do. So
yeah,
that is definitely a strategy.
yeah, that was interesting, especially for um especially for people of color. So like a lot of times we'll not be on LinkedIn, or we'll be on LinkedIn and it's just a name, no picture.
Yes.
People, and then if you're not on LinkedIn and then the other person is, they'll try and look for you and they're like, oh, you're not there, you're not on LinkedIn, and then then there's like, oh, and then it kind of falls apart. The lead falls apart because it's like, oh, you're not on LinkedIn, you're not serious about this, are you?
A
So
LinkedIn snob. You got LinkedIn snob.
yeah, and it's almost like it's your public advertisement for yourself. It's on display, and it's funny when you're at these events and you're looking at the LinkedIn right in front of the person. It's almost like a in real time sort of like audition of your professional profile. So I would say that's a big tip, just to make sure you're getting that social media presence or that digital footprint up, and where people can drive to where they want to connect with you
Mhm.
immediately, and it's not hard to find.
Yeah, and then it's just your job to make sure that you follow up with those connections.
So now, do you make CRM or email streams specifically for events? So, say for instance, if you're going to, let's say you're going to, what CES or one of those consumer product shows.
Mhm,
Some people will make a CRM stream specific to people they meet at that show. So, say
mhm,
for instance, like when you got the popple, you scan it or
mhm,
whatever,
mhm,
and they have a follow up stream that'll be like, "Was really great to meet you at that event. Really enjoyed sharing the insights about social media, and then here's my info. We should schedule some time." But like almost reminding them where they met you and
mhm.
so the context is there. You ever think about doing that?
That's what I do. So when I did the whole Popple thing, that was configured totally for that event. Also, you also want to think about what can I give them a value so they remember me from the millions of people that they're going to meet at this event. So that's when you come with the strategy to say, okay, these people at this event, let's just say I was going to a home services event, right? And so I would give them my systems playbook checklist for home services, right? How to automate your home services business, a checklist. So if I was doing there, I would create my SMS strategy to send it to them. Right? I will have them either text me or I will have them scan my digital business card, but then configure the business card to go into that automation specifically to give them
Gotcha.
that. So then we had two avenues like, hey, pull out your phone. I'm going to give you a number. Just text it. Sometimes it's just easier to do it that way as opposed to scanning the card because sometimes the phones don't work. The NFC might be interference with trying to connect with the QR code. So sometimes it's just easier to say, okay, hey, text this word to this number. And then once they text it, they're in your system.
I like that. I almost I almost like that better than the QR code. Like
Hmm.
that text
Hmm.
text this word to this number.
Hmm.
I didn't even think of that. Like, and it's funny because we're very aware of the power of the SMS campaigns, but I didn't think of just being able to initiate it that way. Like this, just text, you know, AI to this number, and then they'll
Hmm.
get into a
Hmm.
stream. And that's a good way. So say for instance, using that example, let's say podcast summit. Let's say you were going to podcast summit
Hmm.
and you wanted to say do a stream
Hmm.
specifically for people you met there. You could just say you could set up your stream on
Mhm,
high level and then
mhm,
have people text podcast summit to your number, and
mhm,
then they would get a specific stream that was
mhm.
specific to the people you met there,
Right,
and you would know where you met them, and that record would probably be tagged on the back end of high level
yeah,
with that thing, so you always know that that person's related to that topic.
right,
That's
right.
pretty dope.
Yeah, and especially with, high level and digital marketing and things like that. So if you were going to an event like that, your message to them would totally be different than if I was going to home services, right? So I would say, listen, this is how you can automate your podcast. I probably will create a podcast automation checklist, right? Here's the systems playbook checklist for podcasts. And this is how you automate your podcast. Text podcast to blah 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 blah. Hey, pull your phone out. I have a checklist that'll help you automate your podcast. And then I can just lead them down whatever path I want to lead them down. Of course, tagging, which is synonymous to labeling, is very
Mm-hmm.
important so that number one, where they came from, and number two, you're able to send dedicated messaging to them.
That is dope. That is dope. I and just to explain for people, because some people may not know what tagging or labeling is. So like on the back end, when you've got your database of all your customers or all your contacts. You can tag each one with different pieces of information about that contact. So if that contact, you know, is a father and you want to make sure you send him a Father's Day gift or whatever it is, or that contact went to, Spellman, and you want to make sure that when you've got information or you got merch that is, HBCU merch,
Mhm.
you identify that user, you
Mhm.
can tag or label that person in your database so your
Mhm.
database understands contextually what's relevant to that person.
Mhm.
um and the whole SMS message strategy is an easy way to make sure you're labeling, because a lot of people don't do that. Like a lot of people just have a list of customers and try to, like, just email everybody. I'm gonna email.
Yeah, they
But if
do.
you
Be
tag,
and it's just because they don't know how to do this. They don't know how to tag, and they don't know the importance of it, and they don't understand, how frustrating that is for you to be on a list, and you're just getting every single email that the business sends out instead of dedicated emails that you wanna see. So, unfortunately, a lot of people just unsubscribe because you're just sending too much. It's just too
yeah,
much. So it's very important that you understand whatever software system that you're in, how to segment, label out, separate your list. And if you don't know how, hit up their support and ask them. I'm sure they have a knowledge base, and I'm sure did if you just type in tag, TAG, like tag, you're it. It's that will get you to where you need to go to be able to tag your list.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Mhm,
that was a whole bunch of information. That was a lot. Like, I think, and just to pull them out for people. So first, the QR codes and the digital business cards, whether it's on the app or physical devices, making sure you've got that in place. Having
mhm,
your social media presence in place so you can tell people who you are and where you are. And then
mhm,
the whole option of text messaging, being able to
mhm.
text and tag, making sure you're labeling. I actually like that pairing, text and tag.
Text and tag.
There you go. So awesome. So I think this is it for us this week. Thursday, we usually take Fridays off, so we'll be back on Monday. Anything else you have for the people before we get
No,
out of here?
that's it. Text and tag. And make
Oh,
sure when you go to events or networking events, you have a purpose and a goal in mind.
boom. Do it. Awesome. Meantime, everybody have a good weekend. We will see you on Monday. Cheers.